when I'm out of the office, if I want to talk to them, I'm driving, I can get up. Well, the button doesn't work anymore, so just the phone rings all the time, every time the office rings. So if you hear it buzzing,
Where do you work at?
that be why.
Oh, in Nashville? Okay.
And I remember to shut mine off, so.
I don't believe you.
Right there, red.
There you go.
Good.
The bell's not accurate. We still have 28 seconds. I am accurate, occasionally. Gino, nice looking cards.
Thank you.
Good morning. This meeting of the Berry County Board of Commissioners for September 10th, 2024 is now called to order. Please stand for a invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, thank you for another gorgeous day in Berry County. We come to you today asking for your guidance, your wisdom, and your support. Grant us patience, tolerance, and understanding as we conduct this meeting and the affairs of the county. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion and further nurture the connection that we have with our community. Continue to remind us that all we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for you and our community. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Purposes of attendance, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Carlton,
Present.
Campbell,
Here.
Doster, Getty, here. Hatfield,
Here.
Smelker, Tunison,
Here.
and Jackson.
Here. Thank you. Reports from state and county officials. Are there any state or county officials who would like to address the board this morning? Hearing none, limited public comment at this time. Any member of the public wishing to address the board may do so for up to 3 minutes.
Berry County Drain Commissioner Jim Dull, past County Commissioner Jim Dull, resident Jim Dull. Mark Inglis told me one time, never waste $50 on a 10-cent turd. In this case, I believe that it is warranted for the county residents and officials. Ms. DeVoster has misrepresented facts and maligned the drain office repeatedly, and I'm here to correct them. Mr. Doster said at last week's meeting that Allegan County discussed with him a $150,000 loan on Pine Lake. This is not true at all. According to Denise Metamar, Carolyn Pennell, Brent Skolton, the three people in the office. Brent said he showed Mr. Doster the files. Doster took some notes and left. Denise said she has not talked to him about Pine Lake in over 2 years. So that's not true. I believe Mr. Doster is referencing the irrevocable line of credit, which comes from High Point, and says specifically it is a line of credit only to be drawn on by DEQ and only if there's a violation. There is no such loan per handout. You guys can read it, the irrevocable line of credit. Mr. Doster, in his answer to the paper, claims that Watson was $8 million, not including maintenance, that the sewer authority paid $650,000, and the project should never have been done. Per handout, you have it. Fact, the project was $6.675 million, which includes, by drain code, money for maintenance. The sewer authority paid $250,000, and per drain code, with a petition, we have to move forward with a project. As for the full 30th in credit for Meadow Lane, there are several reasons that it would not go to BPW. One, BPW stands for Board of Public Works, which drain projects do not fall under. Two, the drain commissioner cannot shuck his responsibilities and push it off onto another board to do the financing. It's in the drain code. Three, the legal cost of an agreement between the drain office and BPW would just add thousands of dollars to the project, per Doug Kelly. Mr. Doster asked why Crystal Lake project is not done, yet he's the one that tried to stop the resolution to exceed, knowing that the people signed, over 70% of them signed to get the project in front of you to do the resolution to exceed. He states that he sits on this grid board, and it was quote, it was created under Public Act 307, something like that, and that is spelled out in the statute of the drain code. In fact, GLIB was created by statute under Part 309 and does not mention the drain code. By the way, my deputy or the drain office is not compensated for the minutes for GLIB for the meetings. He explained that the spongy moth, simple thing that he sits on a board on, prefer pine trees, yet the information from the board that he sits on says they prefer oak trees. This is proof that he cannot, won't, or does not want to get the facts correct. This saddens and irritates me as a citizen and a public official, because the commissioners that I have previously worked with have been factual, honest, and concerned for the constituents' knowledge first. Thank God Mr. Dostard's done at the end of the year.
Thank you. Additional public comment? Additional public comment? Hearing none, we'll move ahead. Approval of written agenda. At this time, any member of the board may ask for an item to be removed from the consent agenda and placed under items for consideration.
Could I remove 9C?
9C, Airport Manager Services. Okay, we will move 9C off the consent agenda, and that will become E under items for consideration. Okay. Any additional requests to change the agenda? Hearing none, the agenda is approved as amended. Various correspondence. Does any commissioner have correspondence they'd like to share with the board? Okay, consent agenda. Commissioner Getty.
I move for the approval of the August 27th, 2024 Board of Commissioners meeting minutes and the approval of the Berry County Land Bank to enter into a contract with the Berry Community Foundation for a loan to purchase the former Designware building in Middleville, Michigan.
Is there support?
Support.
Motion by Getty, support by Colton. For all items listed on the consent agenda, discussion is not allowed and a roll call vote is required. All those in favor vote aye, opposed vote nay. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Carlton,
Aye.
Campbell,
Aye.
Doster,
Aye.
Getty,
Aye.
Hatfield,
Aye.
Smelker's absent, Tunison,
Aye.
and Jackson.
Aye. The consent agenda is approved. Presentations. This morning, we have with us Jake Welch, Managing Director of the Berry County Road Commission, to give us his new revised, revamped annual report. Good morning, Jake.
Morning all.
Morning.
How's everybody doing?
Fantastic.
I'm gonna move this up. I don't know if those boards are ADA compliant for height. I really had to work to get underneath that puppy, so. Appreciate your guys' time and letting us come and present to you all what's going on at the Road Commission. We're really happy with what's going on over there and thrilled to present this to you guys today. There's copies of our annual report up here. I left one for each of the commissioners. You're more than welcome to grab one on your way out or while I'm talking. Kind of want to walk you through a little bit of this. I'll keep it brief. I told Dave I'd talk for an hour. I'll make sure it's not an hour. But I want to at least walk you through some highlights of what's going on at the Road Commission. First off, I'd start out by, this is the first time in 27 years that somebody else has addressed this board as the head of the Berry County Road Commission. So Brad has been our managing director for 27 years, did a fantastic job, made my job as easy as he possibly could, and a great deal of respect and thanks to him for setting us up as an organization for such success. Just as a quick aside, when I interviewed for this role, I had requested, I'd kind of thought about what questions, you always want to ask an in-depth question during an interview process. And so I had thought about it and came up with a really good one. I asked the Road Commission Board, after 27 years with one manager, having the best roads in the state, no legacy costs, you've only had 14 managers in the 110-year existence of the Road Commission. How are you going to define success for the next managing director? And Dave Solm says, don't screw it up. I'm like, fair enough. They came up with some other really good answers, but I mean, that was kind of the crux of it. It's hard to stay at the top when you're at the top, and that's been kind of what I've been tasked with, and I'm ready for the challenge. So it's good to meet you all or see you all again. I know all of you, but it is interesting that this is kind of the first person that any of you have certainly seen present to the board for the road commission, aside from Brad. So, moving into our annual report, we had a great year in '23. No major safety issues, no major injuries, which is obviously our biggest priority at the road commission. Certainly, we're trying to get a lot done, but we have people that we want to go home every night, and that's always our top priority. That happened efficiently and effectively in 2023. We did go through strategic planning in '23 and adjusted our mission statement slightly to continue to efficiently provide safe conditions for public travel on Berry County roads and bridges. So it's fairly close to what it was before, but felt that it kind of encompassed what we're really trying to get at as the road commission for Berry County. So moving on through our report, the next 3 pages are probably the most important 3 pages in this report. They show you our people. The people that are part of this community, the people that work for everyone else in this community are shown on these next 3 pages. Dave Solms, our chairman of our board's here with me today. Frank and Jim James are our other 2 commissioners that you guys have blessed us with. They do a great job. Greatly appreciate their leadership and vision for the road commission. Our management team's shown on that next page, and then if you follow through to the following page, there's a depth chart, if you will, organizational chart of everybody that worked at our road commission, excluding summer interns and summer help. We don't list them out. We had 28 of them this year alone, so just for paper's sake, we don't list them all out. It's really been, it's been important to note that Brad's not the only change that's going on at the road commission. I write in here, if you read through the letter from the director, I kind of note in there that the road commission's been a really good place to work. People are retiring from the road commission because they wanted to stay there. It's not because we have a pension that's unbelievable. It's not because you have health care until you die. We don't have either of those things. We have a straight 401k. The road commission matches your 401k. We have health care until you leave the road commission, and then you don't have health care anymore. It's become a good place to work that we haven't struggled to find employees. So we are in the middle of a bit of a transition. It's been very helpful that I've been able to be there for 10 years before I took over as managing director. Our equipment superintendent retired right before Brad did. One of the guys in engineering, Doug Peck, retired right before then. We have our superintendent and our 2 office ladies. Our entire management staff will basically turn over in a 6-year period, and I'll be really the only one left. So having been able to be there for 10 years, see how we gain the success that we have has been super important for maintaining that as we transition into new employees. The changes we've made right now have been fantastic. The people that are filling those roles have really stepped up and done a really good job. So moving on, we were fortunate enough to win a couple of awards this year. Each year at the County Road Association conference in Lansing, they accept submissions for projects that you did that were different and are kind of above and beyond the fray. In '23, we partnered with Montcalm County Road Commission. We have the lowest rated percent of poor roads in the state of Michigan. I'll talk about that in a minute, but we're still looking for better and more improved ways to do things. Montcalm uses a couple of different chip seal items, and it's kind of detailed in here a little bit, but we won an award for working with Montcalm County to try some different chip seal products, and they had the expertise in that, so they came down and worked with our crews for a day or 2, and we were able to try a couple of different products, which one of them's working out really well, one of them's not working out as well as we would have needed it to take over and change what we were doing. So we have made some improvements. In particular, the subdivision stuff's working better. The through road stuff did not. So, and it's not bad. You wouldn't notice it if you were out driving, but it didn't hold up to our standard of what our current products do. So we did win an press award through the County Road Association for doing that. At the conference each year, the other members of road commissions vote on what their most impressive award that was given out was, and we won the People's Choice Award as well. Because of that, we were recognized by the state legislators for Berry County for those awards, which was cool. They came and presented us an award certificate that's framed and hanging in our office. That was pretty sweet of them to do. And then Brad won the Distinguished Service Award for CRA, which is given out to one representative that's gone above and beyond over their road lifetime, if you will. And Brad won that in 2024, the spring of 2024, which was pretty cool. In 23, we completed a renovation of our office building and renamed that the Bradley S. Lamberg Administration Building, put a plaque on the outside of the building. So kind of a good send-off for him for all the hard work he did to set Berry County up. So I'll move on to the financial overview. Just a couple of things on this page. Largely, if you compare revenues and compare expenditures, obviously we had about $2.5 million to $3 million more in revenues than we did in expenditures. I would say we're saving that money up because we really are, but as you guys may know, we chip seal in even numbered years and we haul gravel in odd numbered years. So the way our budget ends up working out frequently is that in odd numbered years, we end up saving money up and spending it in even numbered years because that's the more costly application that we're doing. So next year you'll see these reversed and it'll look like we way overspent. The budget's fine, everything's good, we're in good shape, but we save up in odd numbered years when we're doing gravel. When we're doing the more expensive task of chip sealing and paved road work, we spend that balance down. It's allowed us to gain some really good economies of scale and maintain some really good pricing from our vendors by we do as much chip seal as Kent County does, for instance, but we do it every other year, as opposed to doing half that amount each year. So it's really worked out to our benefit and the benefit of our taxpayers. Next page, we did receive some critical bridge fundings in the bottom right of page 15 to do preventative maintenance work on Airport Road Bridge and McEwen Road Bridge. You may have noticed work being done in 2023. Continuing on, we received funding for small urban funding to resurface Airport Road from West State to M37. And then we also did a highway safety improvement program, adding guardrail to various locations in the southwest quadrant of Berry County. The cool part about those funding sources, our management crew and our engineering crew works really hard to gain funds that are not guaranteed to Berry County. Those funds are not guaranteed. We have to apply for those. They're on a project-specific basis, and we go out of our way and work really hard to try to get additional funding to Berry County that's not guaranteed. So, moving on, get into expenditures. I highlight this, the proper and efficient expenditures of public funds is one of the most crucial aspects of working for a government agency. As you guys may know, I came from the private sector 10 years ago, and I probably underestimated the difference in making money versus spending money efficiently. It's not, you wouldn't think it's that big a deal. You show up to work every day, you do your job. It is markedly different, and we take very seriously that task that's given to the road commission to assure that that funding that we do get is spent as efficiently as it possibly can be. I would note that road work section is very important to read kind of in its entirety. It goes over how we select, what roads we select to do, how that process all works, and that's a really good section to spend some time reading if you have a chance. So moving on to the next page. As I stated, 23 was an odd numbered year, so it was a gravel year. We hauled 87,000 yards of gravel and placed it on the gravel roads in 2023, which if you look at that in a pile, it's pretty darn big. If you'll spread it out over the roads, it doesn't look like we did anything. So it's quite remarkable with 550 miles of gravel road in the county. 100,000 yards of gravel doesn't go as far as you'd think it would, but we did spend about $1.3 million in scraping and grading of gravel roads as well. We did do a little bit of paved road work in 23, some crack seal work, which crack seal happens every year, and we did do that 6.94 miles is that project that we did with Montcalm County's Road Commission. And then we had a couple of special assessment districts that we paved subdivisions that year as well. I'm giving you this report later in this year, so I'm able to kind of encapsulate some of the work that was done in 24 as well. We were able to chip seal almost 200 miles of road, crack seal about 60, and pave about 15. And we did do another special assessment districts on Sunshine and Division down in Prairieville Township that all went well. On to probably the most important winter maintenance expense. I think that safe driving conditions during winter months is often the #1 bellwether used by residents regarding the success or failure of the road commission. I don't think you could do anything else, and if you plowed the roads really well, I don't think people really think about the road commission unless they see cones on the road or the road's not plowed. We take very seriously the safety of our motoring public, and winter operations is probably our most important thing that we do. One thing I'd note, there's a chart down there that kind of goes over how many inches of snow that we've received each year versus how much we've spent on winter maintenance. We've certainly had some light winters, to say the least, as of late. One thing I would note, when you get a little bit of a lower amount of snowfall, we get more days of that rain mix, freezing rain junk. So everybody always thinks, well, we didn't have a lot of snow this year, you guys must have saved a fortune. Well, we do in salt to some degree, but we end up going out more frequently because it's that, is it gonna freeze, is it not gonna freeze, and we try to err on the side of safety and get some salt on the road. Also, our employees are full-time, whether they're snow plowing or whether we send them out cutting trees. So yes, we do save some money on snow plowing when it doesn't snow, but our employees are still paid, they're still doing work around the county. So it's not a windfall for the road commission if we don't get as much snow as normal, so. Service request, we had a number of service requests, 831. We rely on residents and you all to report things on the road. You know, or I want to pay enough taxes for us to have enough people to drive around and look for stuff that's wrong. So we really rely on people communicating with us, as well as officials communicating with us. Don't hesitate to give us a call if you see something we want to know. So, non-motorized spending. Section 10K of Act 51 requires that we spend at least 1% of our MTF on a 10-year rolling average on non-motorized spending. It can be slightly difficult in more rural communities where the need for non-motorized facilities is very spread out. Certainly there's need for non-motorized facilities in the city where people are biking and walking to and fro, but when you get out in, the middle of Prairieville Township, how many bike paths do you need in Prairieville Township? So it does become a little difficult to kind of prioritize and know exactly where to spend that funding. We have worked with the Thornapple Trails group, and we do have our plan in here and what we've spent that on. One note, it does have to be spent on transportation facilities, not recreation facilities. It spells that out directly in 10K. So. Moving on to asset road conditions, this is probably one of the more exciting parts.
Could you go back to that?
Yes.
What would be a non-motorized plan that is not recreational then?
So if it's a non-motorized transportation facility that's used for someone getting to work or someone accessing a location, they're using that facility for transportation uses rather than going for a bike ride around the block or around the mile trek around their roads.
But it still is a bike path?
Yes, it
Okay.
would still, it looks the exact same, it's just.
You're just
the
going to
use of-
work instead of
Yes, 100%.
driving around?
Yes. Yep, good question. Next, page 28 is probably kind of the most exciting stuff that's in here a little bit. We have the lowest percentage of poorly rated roads, federal aid eligible roads in the state of Michigan. We have 1.3% of our federal aid system is in poor condition right now. I think the next closest is 7 or 8%. So we're markedly above the curve regarding road conditions. However, there are still road work items that go unfunded annually for the Berry County Road Commission. So the need in our county is obviously much less than other counties. You can only imagine what it is in counties where the roads are in deplorable condition. If you look at those pie charts on the bottom left, it kind of shows you where our federal aid roads are and where our non-federal aid roads are. Both are in very good condition. If you compare those to the 5 pie charts on the bottom that kind of go over where everybody else's roads are, you can kind of get a little comparison as to where we're at versus where the rest of the state as a whole is. So good stuff there. Probably the most expensive asset that we have are our bridge assets and culvert assets. We have 2,500 or so culverts. Half of them are buried, half of them, we're working consistently to try to get those operational and keep those operational. And we have 48 bridge structures. We do have an upcoming project in 2026. We were approved for critical bridge funding to replace the Barger Road Bridge over the Thornapple River. So that'll be a big project, and we're going to redo that section of Barger Road that's been in pretty bad shape for a while. We've kind of been waiting to figure out how to fund that bridge to be able to redo that road. So that's getting done at the same time. So that'll be done in 26. Last thing I have for you, Stephanie Lehman at Central Dispatch has been fantastic to work for, and I think it's good to point out when different sectors of the community work together. We signed on with Smart 911 so that any of our road updates, so when we tell you what time we're going out plowing, when we shut a road down, that goes out on the Smart 911 that you're able to sign up for through Central Dispatch's website. So we're doing Instagram, which we started recently, Facebook, which has been around for quite a while. We have about 7,800 followers on Facebook. And then we're also doing the Smart 911, so you're able to get real-time road updates through Smart 911 as well. So that's all I got for you today. I don't think it was quite an hour, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you have and make it an hour if you'd like.
I like it. I like it. Questions from commissioners?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Colton?
thank you. I really like the terminology page. A lot of these things, you know, I didn't know what they were, and I like the way that you've added the way it extends the life of roads for these different things. So I'm gonna keep this and refer to it. Barger Road, that's always mystified me. You know, I see so much water moves through. How much of it is bridge and how much of it's culvert? I've always wondered.
So that it's existing culverts right now, and those are gonna be removed and a bridge put in its place.
Oh, that's gonna be amazing.
Yeah,
So,
it should help a ton. It should minimize the amount of water that gets on or near that road. We have a lot of really beautiful water facilities in Berry County and some high-quality water facilities in Berry County. I will say that doesn't become super convenient for roads. Like, it's very nice and beautiful to drive around Berry County and you see rivers and you see lakes but every one of those lakes, the road goes like this. And every one of those rivers, those have to be crossed with a bridge that if you look at our system of 1,100 miles of road and a 30-foot section of bridge is gonna cost $2.5 million, the dollars and cents don't add up there. You know, when you have that many structures, and they're that expensive, preventative maintenance is a huge deal for us. So we're consistently preventatively maintaining those bridges because they're too darn costly to replace. So
if I was wondering about that one, are there multiple culverts there? It just seems like not a specific crossing, but an area.
yeah, there's I believe there's 4 culverts under there right now. I think there's 4 96-inch culverts under there, if I'm not mistaken. I just did a big bridge and culvert report for the board that's getting presented to them this next week. So I got a bunch of bazillion numbers running through my head right now as far as what's where, but we do have we have a GIS software program called RoadSoft that all of those are inventoried and inspected, and they're inspected. All of our bridges are inspected on a 2-year cycle at maximum. As they deteriorate, their inspection cycle moves up to make sure that there's no catastrophic failures on those.
Okay, and once again, congratulations on your high rating of the lowest percentage of poor roads. And I just wanted to get your opinion on something. So Berry County, it always seems like is like in the top 5 of the 83 counties for the quality of our roads consistently every year. But yet our neighbor, Ionia County, you know, seems to be in the bottom. And you know, I know organizationally, they don't have like a road commission. It's like 3 commissioners are on a road committee and they make the decisions. It's like one of the committees of the board. Do you have any opinions on why Berry County has excelled? And
yeah, way to ask a loaded question. Thank you. No, so the way Ionia County worked out, their board of commissioners eliminated their road commission and made them a county department. So just as you said, they have a committee of their county board that runs their road department, and it operates markedly differently. You guys would need to know a heck of a lot more about roads, like our commissioners do, to be able to take on that task of doing that. There's a lot of other non-benefits that factor into that. If you ever want to know more about it, let me know, because there's been a couple of counties that have done that. Calhoun is in that same boat. I don't know of any of them that are performing very well. I can only speak for Berry County. I'll give you a couple of things that I think are the big deals as to why we're as successful as we are. Management in the past has done a very good job, and employees have borne the brunt of that we don't have a pension that we can't afford. We don't have lifetime health care. We're not paying employees that are no longer working for us. That's a huge deal. A lot of these other counties are drowning in paying people that no longer work for them anymore. And they have unfunded legacy costs that are completely unsustainable, and there's no way they'll catch up until they're able to cut that off, which is very difficult and problematic to do. Past management did that decades ago, and that's helped us set up for success. A couple other things as far as road condition wise, Berry County is very rich in gravel, as you all well know. When we're building roads on good base, they last longer. That certainly helps us. I would say probably the number one or number two reason why we have the paved road system we do, we consistently do the right thing instead of the popular thing. And for the best example that I can give is chip sealing new asphalt. So when we pave a road and then a month later we come through and chip seal it, everybody's mad at us. It is not the popular thing to do. I can't tell you how many hours I spend on the phone with residents explaining to them why we do that. But the sun beating on a new paved road is the number one deterioration factor for that asphalt. And when you put that kind of investment into a paved road surface and don't protect it with something to slow that UV and hardening of that asphalt, it becomes brittle quicker. It's not a big science experiment. It's not hard to understand. I always relate it to a piece of plastic sitting in your yard. You throw that green chair out in your yard and it sits there for 5 years, it bleaches out to white. It's the exact same thing as when you pave a road and it's nice and black and a year later it's gray. It's hardening that asphalt that's intended to stay flexible. When we chip seal over it, it slows that hardening process and keeps our asphalt flexible longer. So that's probably the biggest thing that we do that's kind of what we view as the right thing but not the popular thing. I actually love having these conversations. I love when people call and give me a hard time about chip sealing the new road, because by the time we're done talking, I don't think I convince them to like the chip seal, but at least they know that we're not idiots. Like, I've had people call and say, your crews aren't communicating. The paving crew showed up and a month later the chip, like we did it on accident. No, we're doing it on purpose, but there's a reason why we're doing it, and there's a very legitimate reason why we're doing it. And I think most of our residents, I would say 95 to 100% of them, I think by the time we're done with the conversation, really appreciate, one, the time that it took to explain it to them, and the fact that we're not sitting there like a bunch of idiots just doing what everybody else is doing. And I think that's been one of the big reasons why we're like that. So to speak to Ionia County or any other county in particular, I'd probably refrain from doing that. But I can tell you that's probably why Berry County is where we're at.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Questions?
Catherine's got one.
Just a comment. I really appreciate, I'm sure it wasn't an easy decision to plunge into social media, because, I see the comments too, and you're an easy target. But I think it really does help communicate out, what projects you're working on, where there are problem areas. So I really appreciate you taking one for the team on that, because it really, that communication does help.
When I started, Brad tasked me with Facebook, and I don't have my own Facebook. I don't have my own social media. I'm not a social media guy at all. And he's like, I want you to run the Facebook page. I'm like, why would I be the one that you want to? I don't even know how to do this. Like, what? But it has worked out really well. When we started really working on it, we had 111 people that followed the road commission. We're up to 7,800, 7,900. It's really impactful when we're able to get out real-time road information to people that quickly. It's been a great tool for us too, so.
Awesome. Commissioner Tunison?
More of a comment too. As great a job as Brad did out there, you haven't skipped a beat, okay?
Good.
So I really feel everybody respects you out there. You're doing a great job.
Appreciate
And
that.
you stepped right in and nothing skipped,
I
nothing
hope you guys
changed.
didn't notice. That was our intention. I mean, we worked really hard to make it a smooth transition, and our intention was that you all didn't notice. And I hope that's
Well,
happened.
I think your employees, that everybody's out there, they have a respect for you. So, I mean, it's easy for a transition, right?
I'm bigger than all
So,
of them too.
well, that's true. I'll give you that.
That honestly helps.
But
And a better golfer.
No, great job.
Thank you.
Couple questions.
Yeah.
First of all, congratulations on the Impress Award.
Yeah.
That is awesome that you're collaborating with other counties, other communities, looking for ways to improve, that you're not resting on your laurels, so that's good. And as I was reading through this report, I love the new format, very detailed, very educational, helped me go to sleep last night.
Me too.
What is Trap Rock?
So trap rock, so the chip seal process, we spray tar on the road called emulsion, which is basically asphalt with water mixed in it to keep it flowable. That's sprayed on the road. As that water evaporates, that asphalt becomes tar, hardens, and then we spread a stone over the top of it, and we call that aggregate. We use a slag product. If you ever look at it, it looks like moon rock. It's very porous. It looks like it would stick to tar very well. Trap rock is a smaller, smoother, natural stone that we're using in our subdivisions. That's the one that's working very well. The unfortunate part is you have to fog seal over it, meaning you have to basically paint it black, because you'll get some stone loss where we don't get a ton of stone loss on our regular seals. So it's one of those products that Montcalm County uses. I would say we have the best chip seal team in the state. Montcalm's probably second. They're probably the only other county in this state that I would ever trust to come and chip seal our roads with as good as ours are, and trying it with them worked out really well. They're very knowledgeable folks and worked with our crew leaders, and it was an awesome experience. But it's a different type of stone that we're putting on the chip seals.
Okay, and here's your winner question, and I think I've asked this before. You do such a great job on the roads, and then we go throw salt all over them and deteriorate them. Is there ever going to be a product, or is there anything in the pipeline that does not destroy the roads like the salt does? Because I know it's hard. M43's been a disaster. I mean, there's just a lot of places in the road where you see the salt damage to it. Is there anything?
So there's industries definitely working on a bunch of stuff. As of right now, as with all new products, they're super expensive. I mean, they're working with beet juice, which it has its own set of drawbacks and constraints. They really haven't found anything that works as well and as consistently as salt does. So I don't see anything in the very near future, but I know that people are working on it, and much like the chip seal with Montcalm County, we're not afraid to try other stuff. I will say I'm a little more hesitant, and I don't speak for our board, but I think they probably are too. We're a little more hesitant to try new stuff when it's so safety sensitive, where winter's so much more safety sensitive than trying a different stone on the road for a chip seal. You're not really dabbling into, somebody driving down the road, sliding off the road and possibly getting into a bad accident. So we'll probably be a little more hesitant to, hey, you all try it first and we'll see how it goes. But we do work with other counties. The County Road Association is really good about collaborating. That's probably one of the best things I've found from coming private sector to public. I was with an excavating contractor. If you figured out how to put pipe in the ground quicker, you sure as heck weren't going to tell your competitor, because that was how you were going to make more money than them. In the public sector, it's expected. It's a good thing to share with your counterparts, share with the other counties what you're doing and what's working and what's not working. There's been some problems with some of the other products that are out there, and salt's probably here for a while, but I do know they're continually working on other stuff. We keep adjusting our mixes. We mix sand with pretty much all of our salt, and we play with those ratios to get enough grit for drivers versus melting ability. So we're consistently playing with those ratios of sand and salt, because the sand's not near as bad for vehicles and the roads as the salt is. But I don't see a silver bullet coming anytime soon, to be honest with you.
Okay, and I didn't see it in here, but I could have missed it. Are you guys still involved in the tree program as far as cleaning up trees out of the right of way from the emerald ash borer and all the dead trees?
Yep, so great question. In 2019, we started a tree program that we were going through and cutting anything that was dead that would fall towards the road in the right of way, and then anything 15 inches and smaller, basically 10 feet outside of the road and 25 feet high. We're on our last township of that, so they're in Prairieville Township, finishing that up. I think they have a little bit more in Johnstown, but close to getting to the end of that contract. And we've started recutting to maintain what we've done so that we don't have that problem again, but they keep dying. I mean, it's not, when we started, we did a little pilot of a few different miles in different areas of the county and estimated 22 to 25,000 dead trees in our right-of-way alone. One thing to note, they're not our trees. We have kind of a running joke at the office when it's a live tree and we want to cut it. It's the landowner's tree, and as soon as it dies, they're calling us saying, hey, come get your tree. They are the landowner's tree. They're able to cut them down anytime they want to. We loan signs for free to let people close a road down or get into the road to cut a tree down. We just only have so much capacity to cut so many, but we're certainly doing our best to keep up on them, but it's an arduous task in a county like Berry.
Okay, good news. I see here, we have 473 miles of gravel roads.
Yeah.
And this time of the year, the number one phone call I get is oftentimes on those gravel roads,
Yep.
chatter bumps,
Yeah.
you know, washouts, stuff like
Yep.
that, and dust control.
Yep.
So still involved in all those plans?
Yep, dust control goes down end of May to the end of June. That's kind of the first application. Some of the townships pay for dust control. Some of the townships do a second app generally in the end of August. Early this season wasn't great for dust control because every rain we got was 2 inches in a half hour, which is not great for soaking into the roadbed and keeping it moist. Now it's dry. Mother Nature controls a lot more of the dust on gravel roads than our dust control operations do for sure. But we'll be out scraping them and grading them and getting ready for winter. We've been out on them all year. That $1.3 million number for scraping annually is pretty consistent. I mean, it's obviously gone up as costs go up, but I mean, we continue to scrape them every year, so.
Okay. Well, like I said, love the new format, love the presentation, very informative, so very well done as your first year at the helm here. Appreciate everything you guys are doing for us and remain number one, okay?
Will do. I won't screw it up.
Thank you, Jake. It's good to have good news. Public hearings, we have none. Items for consideration, Commissioner Campbell.
I move for the approval of prepaid invoices in the amount of $5,722,948.40.
Is there support?
Support.
Motion by Campbell, support by Tunison for approval of prepaid invoices in the amount of $5,722,948.40. Is there discussion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Carlton.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Doster.
Aye.
Getty.
Aye.
Hatfield.
Aye.
Smelkers absent. Tunison.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye. The motion is approved.
I move for the approval of claims in the amount of $137,634.52.
Is there support?
Support.
Motion by Campbell, support by Getty for approval of claims in the amount of $137,634.52. Discussion. Hearing none. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Carlton.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Doster.
Aye.
Getty.
Aye.
Hatfield.
Aye.
Tunison.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye. The motion is approved.
I move for the approval of Commissioner's reimbursement mileage in the amount of $686.08.
Is there support?
Support.
Motion by Campbell, support by Colton for approval of Commissioner reimbursement mileage in the amount of $686.08. Discussion. Hearing none. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Carlton.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Doster.
Aye.
Getty.
Aye.
Hatfield.
Aye.
Tunison.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye. The motion is approved.
I move for the approval of the attached agreement for law enforcement functions between the Village of Middleville and the County of Berry.
Is there support?
Support. Hatfield.
Motion by Campbell, support by Hatfield for approval of the attached agreement for law enforcement functions between the Village of Middleville and the County of Berry. Discussion.
Mr. Chair, I did have a number of questions for the sheriff last week, who wasn't present during that presentation, but I was able to talk to him after the meeting, and I got those questions resolved, so I don't have any problem going forward.
Thank you. Additional discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Carlton.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Doster.
Aye.
Getty.
Aye.
Hatfield. Hatfield,
Aye.
Tunison,
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye. The motion is approved. And we have item E, which is item C from our consent agenda.
I move for the approval of the agreement for airport management services between the Hastings City and Berry County Airport Commission and Lucci Distributing effective October 1st, 2024 through October 2nd, 2027, as recommended by the Hastings City Berry County Airport Commission.
Support.
Motion by Campbell, support by Calton for approval of the agreement for airport management services between the Hastings City Berry County Airport Commission and Lucci Distributing effective October 1st, 2024 through October 2nd, 2027, as recommended by the Hastings City Berry County Airport Commission. Discussion. Yes.
I was thinking some more about our discussion about the human resource position, and was trying to think of just who all are the county employees that would be subject to a personnel policy. There's some divisions that I'm not sure whether, health department, mental health, the sheriff, or this position, whether this would be something that's considered, it's like half of a county employee position, whether they would be subject to our personnel policy or not, or are they just an independent contractor that is something separate?
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Doster, it's an independent contract.
Okay.
So it would not be, set to the personnel policy.
Okay. So, does the airport have its own personnel policies, or everything is directed through the contract?
Everything is directed through the contract.
Is that correct?
And he's a private contractor that we're just paying no benefits, no anything other than a wage.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Additional questions? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Calton,
Aye.
Campbell,
Aye.
Doster,
Aye.
Getty,
Aye.
Hatfield,
Aye.
Tunison,
Aye.
and Jackson.
Aye. The motion is approved. Unfinished business, we have none. New business, we have none. County Administrators Report.
I have nothing, sir.
Okay. Chairperson's report. I was at Hope Township last night. I'll be at Berry Township tonight, and I'll be at Rutland Township on Wednesday. So thanks for covering for me last month. And then we have Economic Development on Wednesday morning as well. So just kind of the start of the meeting cycle here. Vice Chairperson's report.
Commissioner Tunison and I were both at the Hastings City Council meeting last night. They also approved the airport contract, so that's now completed. Other than that, gave them an update on where we are, and look forward to introducing Eric to them. Want to talk to you about maybe joining me at the next month's meeting.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. I'm telling all of our townships that you're coming, so they're being prepared, so, but
Slowly but surely, I'll get there.
there you go. Commissioner reports. Commissioner Tunison.
No report other than I'll be going to Hastings Charter tonight.
Okay. Commissioner Campbell.
Last week, I visited Maple Grove Township, and this week, tonight, I'll be at Baltimore tonight, and on Wednesday, I'll be at Johnstown.
Perfect. Commissioner Getty.
I was at Thornapple last night. It was a quick meeting. Village of Middleville a couple of weeks ago. They did have a new housing project that they're moving forward with on the Thornapple. It's a redevelopment of a parking lot. And so some more housing units to come, and will likely come before us again with a TIF request.
Wonderful. Commissioner Calton.
This last week, I've been to Castleton Township. Last night, the village of Woodland and Carlton Township. Tonight, Woodland Township. And Thursday, I'll be at the village of Nashville.
Thank you. Commissioner Doster.
I don't know if this is the appropriate spot on the agenda, but I had a screwy thought this morning. Was daylight savings time, have we ever taken any sort of position on whether to have permanent daylight savings time. Certainly, the legislature must have toyed with this idea.
Yeah, there's been, even when I was in the legislature, people who want to generally get rid of daylight savings time, not make it permanent. You know, because it's odd the way it goes back and forth, and not every state does that. And, you know, it's been out there, and it's never quite made it through the legislature of getting rid of that for Michigan.
So you're suggesting we take it upon ourselves to be different from the rest of the state?
Yes. No, I think you have to do it by state, and you probably have to have the permission of the federal government as well, I imagine. But my personal choice is that we keep daylight, summertime all year round, provide more daylight in the evenings.
That's the first time I've heard someone who wants to keep it all year.
Oh,
Usually
yeah?
the discussion is
The other way
to
around?
eliminate it. But I always liked daylight savings time. I could go with that.
Well, I'm kind of a contrarian, you know.
Yeah, never heard that idea.
But the purpose for it doesn't really exist anymore. It seems to me as, you know, it was for the farming schedule. And they claim that there's, you know, millions and millions of dollars that are wasted by changing the time back and forth, and it's bad for your health. And anyways, that's my 2 cents.
For year-round summertime.
That was.
No, I mean, like, just summer.
Oh, just
Yes.
summer. You're right.
We'll move the county to Florida. Okay, we're good.
Well, the chairman
The
likes
equator.
taking his late-night boat rides with the sun
A
out.
rumor. Chairman also likes snowmobiling, so I'm a multi-season chairman kind of guy. Limited public comment. At this time, any member of the public wishing to address the board may do so for up to 3 minutes. Hearing none. Other business, we have none. Commissioner comments? Commissioner Doster? Commissioner Talton? Commissioner Getty?
Nothing.
Vice Chair Hatfield?
Nothing.
Commissioner Campbell?
You guys didn't have anything? Okay. Just pertaining to the zoning that we've been dealing with, and my townships have been quite animated about it. They did receive a letter from the zoning department, and they're anxious for a visit from the new enforcement officer. And I wouldn't mind having a visit of our enforcement officer here sometime,
Okay,
if possible.
awesome. Commissioner Tunison?
I want to acknowledge a couple of my fellow commissioners. Last Wednesday, I got to go over to their community garden in Nashville and saw just what it meant to the community and all the efforts that both of those, Catherine and Mike, put into that. And I think it was a great thing. You can see it growing already next year, and they're already talking about putting one in Hastings. The one in Delton has really grown because it started earlier. So, but I really got to see the passion that a lot of people put into that over there. And I want to thank both of them for their efforts. So,
Absolutely, good job. That's something that's catching fire around the county and hopefully continues to grow, so, you know. Did they gift you a squash or anything for showing
well, they
up?
told me I could take all the tomatoes I wanted.
There you go. There you go. Okay, we have finished our agenda. We appreciate you all for coming this morning. Enjoy a beautiful September week here in Berry County, and we will see you next Tuesday. Thank you.